So I finally went to see the new Avengers movie. It was pretty crazy, to say the least. It took me a few days just to really digest it in a way that I could put my thoughts onto paper. If you're one of those folks who haven't seen it yet, turn away now because there's probably going to be spoilers ahead. Now that we're minus all the knuckle draggers that haven't figured out how to buy movie tickets yet, let's talk about how Marvel screwed up. Before you get all crazy on me and say, hey Beef, Infinity War was amazing and the next Citizen Kane, check yourself before I wreck that unsubscribe button, just note that I disagree with you on that one. In the pantheon of superhero movies, Infinity War absolutely sits on top, that we can agree on. It's easily better than the first Avengers by a long shot, and Age of Ultron doesn't hold a candle to it. It's a cinematic masterpiece for superhero movies. So where exactly did Marvel screw up? Well, they screwed up by announcing their future movies too soon. It's no surprise that we've got Captain Marvel coming and Ant-Man and the Wasp, but Captain Marvel takes place in the 90s and Ant-Man takes place after Civil War but before Infinity War, which is a righteous shame. Having Ant-Man and the Wasp take place after Infinity War, dealing with the aftermath and fallout of Thanos, could have been a compelling movie and helped Avengers 4 with the inevitable burden of explaining what happens on Earth afterward, allowing Avengers 4 to deal with more cosmic level stuff. Who knows, maybe it will toward the end of the movie. It's unlikely though, because we know there's a couple years gap between Civil War and Infinity War, so Ant-Man and the Wasp probably won't deal with anything having to do with Infinity War, and it's more gonna explain the aftermath of Civil War than anything else. Anyway, before we get too derailed here, let's get back on track. As we all know, at least those of us who have seen the movie, Doctor Strange, Black Panther, and Spider-Man all die, unfortunately. Yet, anyone who keeps up with the MCU is well aware that all three of those heroes are inevitably getting sequels. As far as official things go, we know Spider-Man Homecoming 2 is, coming, and they'd be missing out on free money if we didn't get a Black Panther sequel, so that's inevitable for Phase 4. The same can be said for Doctor Strange. Equally culprit is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which we also know is officially coming. Considering we basically lost most of the Guardians, it's going to be tough to make a Guardians movie with just Rocket Raccoon. That's right, every single Guardian except for Rocket is gone. Unless you count Nebula in terms of the MCU, which I don't. So what does this tell us? This tells us that Avengers 4 will, more than likely, fix all the things that Thanos did. At some point in the movie, we're going to get back every hero we lost. You can make an argument that they could bait and switch us on Homecoming 2 and give us, say, Miles Morales as a protagonist, but I think that's unlikely, and while a Rocket Raccoon solo movie would be cool to see, they'd have absolutely not called it Guardians Volume 3 if it was just Rocket. I'm pretty sure we don't have official word about a Black Panther and Doctor Strange sequel, but you know they're coming regardless. It's inevitable. How could Marvel have handled it better? Well, they could have kept their yap shut and left us guessing what was coming after Ant-Man and the Wasp and Captain Marvel. Not even announced Avengers 4, just sort of drop it on us a month or 3 before release. Another way they could have done it is to take back the release dates for Guardians 3 and Homecoming 2. It wouldn't have been as effective, but it would have been a nice nod at Infinity War. The fact that we know that Avengers 4 will most likely deal with bringing back everyone we've lost sort of declaws Infinity War. It makes it so that everything that happened was ultimately pointless. It's not the first time Marvel movies have flirted with death to gear us up emotionally, then bring them all back for that warm, feel-good moment at the end. Groot and Guardians 1, for example. Then they had to run it back with Infinity War, sort of felt like it was already done, cause it was. Hell, even Thor mentions that Loki has died numerous times before. It's practically a running joke at this point. Then there was War Machine in Civil War, and I'm sure I'm missing some, but I just can't remember who they were. Point is, the MCU is no stranger to bringing back characters from the dead. The only difference is, we'll be waiting a while this time. Yeah, it seems sort of silly to go out of their way and make the future uncertain because of what happens in Infinity War, but it would have made Phase 4 that much more impactful, the events in Infinity War not feel completely cheap, and they could have dropped a huge hype bomb on us by waiting a few weeks after Avengers 4 fixed everything by lining up the next few years of Marvel movies. Then again, maybe they didn't really need to. Consider that the hardcore fans, like me or you, are the only ones who keep up with Marvel movie news, and the normies typically don't hear or know about these movies until their trailers drop. If you ask the average person who enjoys MCU movies but isn't a hardcore fan, they'll probably tell you that they had no idea a new Ant-Man movie was coming out, or that the end credits scene for Infinity War was a subtle hint at both Captain Marvel and, likely, her inevitable presence in Avengers 4. So I guess at the end of the day, it didn't really matter what they did. What do you guys think? Do you think they should have left Phase 4 a mystery until after Avengers 4, or do you think it ultimately doesn't change anything? Leave a comment below and be sure to hit that subscribe button. See you next time.